before we really dive into it, I just want you guys to know that before I get started, there's trigger warnings in this. Like I have to say that. What's popping, y'all? What's popping? What it is, what it ain't. It's your girl, Ombre Alert, and I'm back with another video, okay? This is going to be my first video of the year. Thank you guys so much for everything, for supporting, for following me, for commenting. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Y'all know that I'm humble and I appreciate everything that you guys do. I'm back better, so let's get it, okay? As you guys can see by the title, we're talking about Tammi Terrell, okay? One of the legendary artists on Motown Records. Y'all know that I've covered the Temptations before, and I have a few other artists as well that I'm going to be talking about as well on this channel, so I'm excited about those videos coming up real soon. And get into it because I gotta go pick up my niecey poo from school. So let's get right into it. Y'all already know what to do. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. You don't want to miss out on what's popping right here. Okay? Period. I'm real excited to record today, so let's just get into it, okay? So Tammi Terrell is one of the legendary artists, a part of the Hit Factory is what they call it at Motown, or what they called it at Motown. So that's including Miss Tammi Terrell herself, Marvin Gaye, The Temptations, Diana Ross and the Supremes. I could go on. Stevie Wonder. Oh, God. I need to listen to some of his stuff right now. Like, actually, I kind of need that, like, sweet serenade, sexy voice, okay? I need that. Not to mention, did y'all see Stevie Wonder without his glasses on? I don't know. I need to see how many kids he got, because, woo. Anyways, let me not do that, because he's a grown man. But anyways, listen, y'all was thinking it. And you know you was. I just said it. Okay? Legendary artist. She really got popular in the 1960s. She was a teenager at the time, and she started working with a record company called Skepta Records. It sounds sketchy. I've never heard of that before, but I guess new record labels sound sketchy, so I guess so. So she started recording with them, and then she really blew up when she started working with James Brown. Now, she was a part of his live show that he used to do back in the day, okay? So she was one of the little singers, background dancers, you know what I'm saying? So she was real cute giving it up. Then her story, like, before I really get into the sauce and the meat of this spaghetti story, because it's just crazy. It's a lot of unfortunate circumstances. It's a lot of sadness. So before we really dive into it, I just want you guys to know that before I get started, there's trigger warnings in this. Like, I have to say that. She has a really sad story, and it was hard for me because I was like, wait a minute, I need to find more research on her, and I wanted to find out some good things, but it was a lot of really shaky things that happened. But I'm just gonna get into it. But I just want to warn y'all, okay, before we get started. Before she worked with James Brown, she actually got raped on her way home from school from 3 boys. So she always kind of struggled with that type of, mistrust in men. And I guess just feeling like her pretty would be taken advantage of. So when she met James Brown, joined his live band, and they got into a relationship, he was much older than her. She was much younger. So she was 17 years old, and he was 29. So, y'all know how it was back then. I could bring up several others that were doing the same thing back in the 1960s, but I guess it was a norm to get a female when she was younger. And, even earlier times before that, like, you as a young female, it was, said that you had to have birthing hips and you had to, have babies, start having babies when you were like 13 or 14. Thank God that has really changed as not becoming the norm in society, even though, teenage pregnancy is like something that happens a lot nowadays. It was more like respected for a woman to be like a young mother or a young wife or whatever. So that was something that was happening with her and James Brown. They were together. They had a 12-year age difference, and they were in a relationship, and it said that he was very abusive to her, and she got tired of him, just hitting her and abusing her and slapping her, and it would be in front of the band, and it was just, embarrassing. For one, it's embarrassing, it's unprofessional, but for two, it's just not necessary. Like, anything that you need to say, you need to just get it off your chest, say it, and let's move on, okay? So, members of the band would say that they would see her get hit and he would beat her until she was bloody. So things like that started to happen in their relationship, and she got out of that relationship, thank God. But what made things worse was her continuation of being in a relationship similar to James Brown. She would move on to being with David Ruffin of the Temptations, and she went after Skepta Records and James Brown. She went to another record label. I think it was called Cheater Records. And then she moved to Motown in 1965. So after a situation happened with her and James Brown where it was 1963 and he had a performance and he was angry with her, he beat her really bad and she never went back to him. So fast forwarding to 1965, she moves on and works with Motown, and that's where she meets Marvin Gaye, and she also meets David Ruffin of the Temptations. So before we get into David Ruffin, I'm going to just talk a little bit about Marvin Gaye and her. So they had this really good, like, musical chemistry. And I guess you would think because he fine, he fine as hell, okay? He's super fine. She's beautiful, gorgeous. Like, not only was she a singer for Motown, but she was best known also for, like, modeling, being on the cover of magazines. So she was gorgeous. I mean, she personified Black excellence and Black beauty. But just the two of them together made, like, this magical music duo. And every song that they recorded together was a hit. Like, you can't make it up. Like, nowadays we don't have collabs like that where they could do, well, I have some ideas if y'all want to know. I have some ideas of artists that should work together that haven't worked together yet. One thing y'all don't know about me is that I'm very musically inclined, okay? If y'all want a video on my thoughts of who should work together as far as musicians in today's time, just let me know. I'll do that. Because I talk about a lot of, older stuff, but I don't talk about the now. So they had a really good musical connection. And this is something that was magic. I mean, they did live performances together. They were like musicians, but they were also like the best of friends. And, it's rare that you find that. And if you find that in a person, someone that like completely understands you, like professionally and on a friendship level, you have to keep it. Like, you have to keep it. And for women especially, like, it's something about having a really good bond and a connection with a man and it not be sexual. Like, that's something that we really look for. Like, a lot of men might think that we're looking for sexual connections, because we are. We are, but at the same time, it's like, intimacy is a big deal. Like, and intimacy, it doesn't have to, like, in general, it doesn't have to be like, I think when people think of intimacy, they think about a relationship and, and cuddling and stuff like that. But when you're thinking about intimacy between a man and a woman, like, just in general, we're thinking about someone that cares, someone that listens, someone that is understanding. And it's hard to find that nowadays. So she found that in Marvin Gaye. And of course, people speculated that they were together. But that's just because they fine as hell together, okay? If you can find a friend that's fine as hell, then find that friend that's fine as hell. But anyways, some of the most popular ones, Ain't No Mountain High Enough, Ain't Nothing Like the Real Thing. I remember my parents playing both of those. Heavy. You're All I Need to Get By. Basically, those were like the top, you know, most popular of the songs that they did together. And they remained friends until her untimely death. So now we're going to get into her and David Ruffin. So they started being together in 1966, specifically. David Ruffin was with her for, I want to say, maybe 6 or 7 months. He proposes to her, says he wants to marry her. She announces their engagement on TV. You can't make this type of scandal up. So she announces their proposal, his proposal, and their engagement on TV. And then she finds out later that he's actually married. She finds out that he's actually married. He has not one, not two, but 3 kids. And he has a girlfriend that also lives in Detroit. What the F? So the source of their arguments are this. The back and forth between them as, you know, months go by is because she's just now finding out that he's actually married to someone else. He has kids and a girlfriend. So whole time, just as she's finding out about the girlfriend is finding out about her, because their relationship is public, because Tammi Terrell is a superstar. Like, she has that advantage that she's not messing with David Ruffin in secret. So no one really knew about the girlfriend. Everybody knew that he was married, but nobody knew about that he had a girlfriend. And she was feeling that way looking at him and Tammi Terrell in the magazines, because he was flaunting her all over the place. You know what I'm saying? He had a limousine with his name on it and all this other stuff. So it was crazy scandalous. And not to mention that, so they were arguing heavy because he was omitting all these details, and then he was on coke. So now you got a cheater. Well, not a cheater, but really just, he's a liar. I guess you could just say he's a liar, because he's just not being truthful about his life. So now you're with a liar and he's on cocaine. Heavy. Heavy on the cocaine use. Heavy on the ego. If y'all watch the Temptation movie, then you already know. David Ruffin is an egomaniac. Like, he's an egomaniac. He's crazy. So that's the type of person you can't tame. And then you put him on cocaine too. Oh, no. So you know that relationship with Tammi Terrell became abusive for all of those reasons. Okay, so she's in another abusive relationship with David Ruffin. So during this time, this entire time of her success, she got famous in 1960. When she turned 20, that's when she signed to Motown. So she got famous. You know, all these years she's having all these headaches. So these headaches have began since she was a child, but they worsened as she got older. So she's having really bad headaches, severe headaches. And then she collapses on stage with Marvin Gaye. And she falls into his arms. And she was already saying things about headaches, but I think he noticed that she wasn't feeling well and told her like he would take care of everything, but she wanted to perform anyway. So instead of, you know, just resting, she performed and she ended up collapsing on stage. Now, after that collapsing, she went to the doctors, and the doctors diagnosed her with a malignant tumor on the right side of her brain. So this is crazy for like a 20-something-year-old. She just got famous. You know, she's living in this trauma of being abused by these famous men after getting abused from these random, disgusting boys when she was a teenager. And now she has a tumor. And I looked up malignant tumor, and it comes from cancer that's already in your body, and it travels to your brain. And the symptoms is like severe headaches. A symptom also is loss of eyesight, is seizures. So the only symptom that she's having is truly, you know, just having really almost migraine headaches. So she's having these headaches, and then she's diagnosed with this tumor, and the doctors explained to her that she needs surgery. So in 1968, she undergoes her first surgery. And then unfortunately, after that surgery, the tumor gets worse. And she does another surgery after that. A year after that, she undergoes another surgery, which is 1969. And her doctor orders her to retire from doing all live performances. So imagine how hard she was working if she only stayed alive 4 years after she signed to Motown. Imagine how hard she was working to collapse like that and then undergo this surgery. The first surgery didn't work. The tumor got worse. So then she had to do it again. And her doctor tells her, like, look, you have to stop performing. That's doctor's orders. You can't, there's nothing else you can do. So between 1969 and if she had 2 surgeries from 1968 to 1969, and then after that she died in 1970, she underwent a total of 7 surgeries. 7 surgeries. In between those surgeries, she was wheelchair confined. She lost her hair. She weighed 93 pounds. I'm getting sad just talking about it. And on top of that, she died at March of 1970 after going through her last, like months after her last surgery was January of that year. So she went into a coma months after that, and then she died in March of 1970. After her death, it's said that Marvin Gaye was never the same, that he was heartbroken, and he, you know, entered a battle of depression and substance abuse issues, which we will talk about. Hint, hint, wink, wink. She died at 24, right before her 25th birthday. And, you know, her funeral happened. Of course, Marvin Gaye was there giving the final eulogy and singing one of their songs together. And he performed with her. Her last public appearance was in 1969 at the Apollo Theater, and Marvin Gaye was there. So I'm glad that he got a chance to do that with her, and they did a little song together. The scandal of it all is that her mom banned everybody from Motown except for Marvin Gaye, because she blamed Motown for the reason why her daughter and David Ruffin were together. And a lot of people speculate that because they were together, it enhanced her symptoms because of the stress and because of the abuse. Her symptoms worsened. And I mean, it's just super sad. And I was so mad I couldn't find the unsung on her life. I can't really find anything. So I just thought I would do a video. She was so gorgeous, so beautiful. I'm finna flood in a few minutes with pictures because she has to be talked about. Her songs, like her songs are top tier, top notch, okay? She is a songstress, okay, period. And she has to be celebrated just as much as any other artist on Motown. And I thought I would just shed light to her in this video. I hope that you guys like this video. I know it was super sad, but I hope that we all as women can learn something from being in relationships and being with men that don't serve us. Hopefully we can start learning these lessons and open our hearts to men that actually want to lift us up and not tear us down. It's your girl, Umbrella. I hope you guys like this video. Please stay locked because I'm going to do a slideshow of her photos because she's gorgeous, okay? And yeah, tune in for the next video. Thank you guys for watching. Love you. Bye.